What is a great career path that kids in college aren't aware exists? Story 1. Military to federal government bureaucrat. If you're able-bodied, you can get into at least one branch of the U.S. military. Once you make it through training, it's exceptionally difficult to get yourself fired. Deployments to war zones are exceptionally rare right now as well. After 4 years, you get out and get paid a full-time salary to become a college student. That's your whole job, going to school. Post 9/11 GI Bill. Graduate and start applying to federal government jobs on usajobs.gov. With military experience and the degree you earned for free and got paid to study, you can be making $60K by the time you're 24 and no college debt. And most government jobs can currently only hire existing government employees or veterans. That's the rule. In 2004, I was homeless. I joined the military, went to school on a post 9/11 GI Bill, then got a federal job making about $75K per year. I was then headhunted to become the spokesman for a hospital, my current job, where I make even more money in a cheaper part of the country. I'm not a recruiter. The military is not for everyone, and there were a lot of reasons I didn't make it into a full career. There's a good deal of bull involved, but at the end of the day, I'm living a very easy life thanks to investing 4 early years of my life into the military. You ever see those videos where someone tells you this is the easiest and most instant way to get money into your bank account? While I don't doubt this person's information, I feel he's missing a lot of caveats. Right now, deployments to war zones are exceptionally rare. I wonder what the landscape was like when this guy was going through his training. There's always the possibility that you could get in at the wrong time when this happens. I also don't know anything about this GI Bill. How many people actually get through on this bill? It's interesting if you apply yourself, but it's probably not for everyone. Story 2. Finish your bachelor's in anything and complete a 1-month full-time CELTA course. You can find a place to study this course in pretty much every country in the world. Then move to Sydney or Dubai, etc., and teach English as a second language to foreigners. In Sydney, for example, you can get a job working for one of the major universities. They teach English to foreign students who want to study at the uni and who have all the necessary requirements to do so except for the required English level. And so they take a 10-week course hoping to improve their English enough in time for enrollment. The one I worked at has around 2,500 foreign students enrolled in one of these pathway courses, mainly Chinese, Korean, Brazilian, and students from the Middle East, and employs around 230 teachers. And they pay $92 an hour, plus 17.5% contributions to your super fund, and a full-time teaching load is 4 hours of teaching a day, 2 times 2-hour lessons. That's $1,840 a week, or $95K per year plus. Super. And the lesson prep time is almost non-existent, as the universities have been running these courses for so many years that they've tailored all the material to be ready to serve. And the demand for English teaching from foreigners is increasing at a huge rate and will continue to do so for many years. I've done something similar. I actually taught English as a second language on one of those online portals. That one was pretty convenient. I could work from home, and as long as I had an internet connection, I could always get classes. It was pretty steady work. Unfortunately, the Chinese government cracked down on foreigners teaching. They only wanted English being taught by Chinese people. I think they wanted to cut back on foreign influence. But if these places will welcome American English teachers, great, cool. Story 3. Technical business analyst. I went into college planning on being a C# programmer, but fell out of love with the idea of coding in a cubicle 8 hours a day. I wanted to use my technical knowledge and people skills together and be involved with the creative process. A BA is the guy who takes business requirements from executives or clients and forms them into actionable tasks for developers. A good BA needs to become very rooted in the needs of the company and also have enough technical knowledge to relay that information to developers. Yes, it's a lot of documentation, but also can involve wireframing, actually designing the UI for front-end applications. The career path for a BA is BA, Technical BA, Project Manager, Scrum Master, Chief Technical Officer, or Chief Information Officer. In practical terms, $35K a year to $65 to $80K to $100K to plus $150K. Too long didn't read? Like coding but don't like to code? Get paid $35K fresh out of college to tell developers what to do. All right, that's smart, and that's great for people who want to be able to move forward in their career. I think there are some people that would just rather solve problems and be in the cubicle coding 8 hours a day, but for someone who has a little more creativity and wants to be a leader could definitely check this out. I like the thinking on this one. Not bad. Story 4. If you're from the UK or US, some people in China will pay you great money to babysit their kids so they can learn the right accent and manners. They'll prefer someone with a college education since it's more prestigious. And I know someone who was earning $50K straight away. There are agencies that arrange this sort of deal, but you won't get near the number quoted because the agency gets a massive cut. I'm currently living with a Chinese family as an au pair, but my take-home is garbage. If you know nothing about Chinese culture and language and have no potential ways to find it, it would be a good idea to go through one of those agencies to begin with, and then find a family to go full-time with after your contract is up. Story 5. Interpreter. In New York City, being one for the courts is very lucrative and in demand. Not that everyone can be proficient in 2 languages, but if you aren't proficient, a degree isn't needed so long as you can pass a series of tests. Edit. For everyone saying about how technology is going to replace this, I say you might be right, but I'd be very surprised to see court systems or education systems implementing anything new with pace, especially when there's such a liability involved. I think it's going to take longer than a lot of you expect, no matter how good the tech is. Mostly because A, any agency just takes forever to change anything, and B, it usually takes a lot longer than most people think for something like this to be tested rigorously enough for real-world application. As an example, ask, why hasn't speech-to-text replaced stenographers yet? Story 6. A lot of the smaller healthcare professions get forgotten by kids in college or high school. Everyone focuses on being a doctor, nurse, dentist, or pharmacist, but there are so many other professions in healthcare. Speech-language pathologists, occupational therapists, physiotherapists, respiratory therapists, medical imaging technologists, X-ray, MRI, US, nuclear medicine, radiation therapists, dietitians, audiologists, chiropodists, laboratory technologists. I'm sure I've forgotten some. They all tend to pay middle-class income or better with reasonable hours. They require specialized knowledge and skills that put your brain to work at least a little bit each day, and you get to work with patients who are typically quite appreciative. I think that's a good strategy for most things. Instead of aiming for the big generalized version of what you're interested in, find something that's specialized. And if you can identify something that you're interested in that you can specialize in that's going to be in demand, then you've got something. This guy brought out a lot of examples. I think people that are into medicine would be good to look over this list and see if there's anything that would interest them. Story 7. Merchant Marines. I graduated from a 4-year maritime academy and got a job immediately working 1 month on, 1 month off, and an $80K a year salary. 5 years later, I make $100K a year and only work half of it. Edit. I went to an academy which expedited me to a high-ranking position. However, you don't need a college degree nor go to school to get into this industry. Engineers, they're an extremely vital aspect to every boat. If you have a knack for engines and building things, it's also a huge advantage, especially if you want to go the engineering route. If you go to an academy, you can also major in marine engineering. Story 8. Tour boats. If you get on with a good company, you can start off making $30–40K a year. After a year and a half or so, you can get a Tankerman certification along with a significant pay raise. With 10 years, if you work hard and do everything you need to do, you could be looking at $100K plus working 6 months out of the year. You could do it faster if you were willing to pay for some school. My grandpa is a captain, and $500 a day is the lowest he'll go out for. And that's only if he's desperate to get out of the house. On top of that, he's what they call a tripper, which pretty much just means freelance. He goes out when he feels like it and stays home when he doesn't. Story 9. Oh, perfect. No one knows about my career. Only 3,500 people are doing it nationwide, and we are in a job shortage. I am a perfusionist and run the cardiopulmonary bypass machine during heart surgeries. Get a Bachelor of Science degree, then go to a perfusion school, 1 or 2 year program. I am 4 years out of school and made 6 figures last year. I probably averaged 30 to 35 hours per week. It can be stressful because you can kill a patient very easily. Won't happen unless you're careless, but it's very rewarding to know you're saving people's lives every day. See, again, we're going for the specialization. It's interesting to see this guy talking about his job and talking about how it's in decline. I don't think this guy is going to fall out of demand. When he says 6 figures, I wonder what is the highest number on that 6th figure at the end? Is it a 1 or a 2? Well, granted, it's still more than a lot of people are making, but still, find out what you can specialize in. You're probably going to be in demand. Story 10. Medical laboratory sciences. In the U.S., there are severe shortages in the workforce due to new higher standards for certification and education. It's something that has well-paid positions at multiple levels of degrees, although associate and bachelor are the most common. Do you like doing science and biological stuff? Do you like being part of healthcare but hate dealing with sick people directly? Lab services might be for you if you answered yes to both of those questions. Story 11. Technical writer. Page intentionally left blank for $17 an hour starting. You don't need a degree or experience in the field directly if you have a solid portfolio and know the current issues, trends, and hot topics. The field is massively in flux right now, and with so much focus on usability, it's a fun place to be if you like research, design, and analysis. Although I do spend an extraordinary amount of time talking to coworkers to understand what they want, and fairly little time making the thing. Story 12. Less conventional or glorified IT positions like QA analytics or NOC technicians. They pay from $45K to $75K depending on experience, location, and schedule. A technician, operator, analyst, engineer who works out of a network operations center, or NOC for short. They monitor the tech backbone of a corporation, usually a 24/7 gig, and are the first responders to problems that can quickly cause huge revenue loss, like down servers or websites. Yeah, and once again, we're talking about specialization. At least we're talking about that in the internet field. I've worked for companies that did have NOC people working on this. There were some game companies that had NOC technicians that were monitoring their servers 24/7. They are definitely responsible for everything going right and making sure that the company can still make money. They also usually have a very cool command center with multiple monitors. It's like they're on Star Trek. Pretty cool. Story 13. Actuary. Go to the cheapest state school, get a math degree, pass the exams. Entry level is close to $75K. Pay keeps rising as you progress through exams. After becoming an associate of an actuarial society, you earn close to $150 to $200K. I know of people doing that in 4 years after graduating. Plus, the work-life balance is excellent, as well as job security. No need for an Ivy League education or to be at a Wall Street target school. Also, no need for graduate school. Story 14. If you can write, can manage a project, and have some basic graphic design skills, there are always jobs in instructional design, specifically online course development. Not difficult at all to be making $60K within 2 years, or $80K after 5. I have hired web designers and graphic artists since work in hardcore creative roles can be harder to find. They pick up the tools in no time and make good money. Story 15. Find a union factory job if you're looking for unskilled work. I entered at $35K. I'll be at $50K within the next year. I have full health, prescription, and dental insurance, and it's basically impossible to fire me unless there are layoffs or really mess up. Yeah, I think there's one word in there that is really important. Union. There's a lot of controversy right now going on about work and unions and whether this is right for America or not. But in this case, I agree. I think unions do a very good job of protecting their employees and protecting the people and making sure they get everything they need to have a life. Story 16. Funeral director, mortician, and embalmer. It takes very little college to become one, and they pay well. Funeral directors usually even get a free house out of the deal. Also, hazmat cleanup, like 18 months of school for a $60K USD per year job. Plus, you get to travel all over the world. Story 17. In the United Kingdom, apprenticeships. No debt, a wage, and a career lined up and waiting for you. For example, helicopter engineer. Story 18. It's gaining more traction as more universities are offering it as a major, but supply chain management offers a great career opportunity. Yeah, you'd think in a world where everything is going more digital that physical supply management wouldn't be a thing, but it seems like it is. If you don't think physical supply management is a thing, look at Amazon. One of the richest people in the world made their money off of doing just that. Story 19. Piano tuning gets you up to £75 an hour, and there are elderly tuners literally begging to hand over full schedules of work. You can find work all over the world and don't have to do too many hours to earn a good living. Story 20. Any municipal job. In the New York City area, there are several agencies that don't require a degree and are good careers, especially within transportation. Again, I think this falls along with the government jobs, just on a smaller level. Unless you're getting elected, you're probably working under the radar a lot of the times. I wonder what kind of skills you have to have or what you have to do for these kind of jobs. Story 21. My girlfriend's brother is doing HVAC sheet metal work, 22 years old and already making $23 an hour, which is pretty darn good where we live. Story 22. In Poland, we have a serious shortage of all sorts of gas fitters, technicians, and engineers. After a 2-year school, you'll get a job that pays twice as much as an entry-level architect or doctor. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.